Welcome everyone to Coin New Yen Review channel. Before we dive into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover us. Enjoy the show. 2 years after our breakup, I received a lawyer's letter from my ex-girlfriend. She demanded I repay every expense from our time together. He is the heiress of the Liu Corporation. Money means nothing to him. The reason he did this was because his new boyfriend was jealous. He wanted to prove I no longer held a place in his heart. He knew I was drowning in debt to save my mother. My finances were already in ruins, yet he still chose to do this. That was the total he spent on me over the years, including the 20 yuan when I was penniless. He bought a boxed meal for my mother. I never imagined head count even that small sum. After maxing out my last card, I finally scraped together the money. 2 years ago, to pay for my mother's treatment, I sold myself to Liu Ryan. I knew he saw me as a stand-in for his nephew, but I didn't care. Until his nephew returned and learned of my existence, he threw a massive tantrum. In front of everyone, he demanded I repay every expense from my time with Liu Ryan. The next day, Liu Ryan tossed me a ledger ID never seen before. Inside it, every single expense from our 5-year relationship was down to a 2 yuan ice cream, and up to the limited edition sports car he gave me. Even the cost of hotel rooms and condoms was meticulously noted. I'd already paid half the hotel fees. Djibouti owes you 1,000,000. You still owe me 208 million. Pay it to my account within a month. Liu Ryan lounged lazily on the sofa. Her mocking gaze pierced me. Her unfamiliar eyes sent a shiver through my heart. What, no money to repay? When you threatened and humiliated Djibouti for money, did you ever consider if he had any? The private room fell deathly silent. All eyes locked onto me. A burst of mocking laughter erupted. Liu Ryan called me Long Aocean a penniless fool. Where would I get 208 million to repay you? Back then, I shamelessly climbed into your bed. As a kept man, who will he sell himself to this time to pay it back? Ha ha ha, who will he sell himself to? It's just 208 million, isn't it? If Long Aocean serves me well tonight, it'll give you 25 million. Liu Ryan seemed to smirk. She casually swirled her wine glass. That's none of my business. Long Aocean, if you can't pay on time, it'll drag you to court. Thinking of my mother's exorbitant medical bills, I forced a smile. I looked at the person beside Liu Ryan. If I serve you well, will you really give me 25 million? That person's interest was piqued. With Liu Ryan's silent approval, he called the waiter to bring 10 bottles of hard liquor. Long Aocean, if you can finish all 10 bottles tonight, it'll give you the 25 million. I didn't hesitate for a second. I grabbed a bottle and poured it down my throat. The liquor's high alcohol content felt like it was burning a hole in my stomach. Pain twisted my brow. Cold sweat poured down my face. Countless scornful gazes fell upon me. Liu Ryan's was especially piercing, but I didn't care at all. I was desperate for money, so desperate. My dignity was worth nothing compared to cash. After 10 bottles, my eyes were bloodshot and burning. I held out my hand to that person for the money, but he turned to Liu Ryan and asked Sister Ryan, should I give it to him or not? Give it, Liu Ryan said, her eyes glinting with malice. It's just pocket change. Consider it charity for a roadside beggar. A bank card was tossed at my feet. I bent down to pick it up and rushed to the hospital. With this money, my mother's surgery could finally proceed. But when I arrived to pay the fees, the doctor looked at me with regret and said, Mr. Long, President Liu gave strict orders to halt all treatment for your mother. We're powerless to help. It felt like the sky had collapsed. I frantically dialed Liu Ryan's number, begging her to show mercy. But from the receiver came a soft, mocking laugh. Didn't she already have surgery last week? Skipping one won't kill her, will it? Consider it punishment for hurting Djibouti's feelings. The moment the call ended, a piercing sound came from the hospital room. The monitor's wavy line meant to pulse with life, flattened into a lifeless straight line. My phone slipped from my hand and hit the floor. My eyes wild with shock, I threw myself at the bedside. I grabbed my mother's hand, trembling. It was so cold it plunged me into an icy abyss. My desperate screams tore through the night. I knelt hollowed for a day and a night, until the first rays of dawn touched the hospital room. Only then did I painfully accept my mother's death. The doctor solemnly handed me a letter saying, "Mr. Long, this is the letter your mother wrote you in her final moments. Please grieve." The letter was brief. I sobbed until I was a wreck. Ocean, run fast. Your life is just beginning. The last gift my mother gave me was freedom. Utterly desolate. After handling my mother's funeral, I didn't hesitate to call the National Research Institute. Professor Lee, I've made up my mind. I want to join this research project. Professor Lee, hearing this, was so excited his voice trembled. Ocean, are you serious? Have you settled your mother's affairs? And what about the woman you loved? I cut him off. My mother has passed, and I no longer love that woman. The line went silent for 2 seconds. Then he consoled. Ocean, I don't know what happened these past 5 years, but the most painful times are when you grow the fastest. Your life is just beginning. Yes, the life of a genius youth. How could it be ruined in Liu Ryan's filthy mire? Perhaps. I did feel a flicker of affection for Liu Ryan. She was beautiful, kind to me, and willing to spend money and effort on my mother's treatment. What could I possibly complain about? Until Jibota returned to the country. Liu Ryan, who never touched alcohol, got drunk and confessed. Jibota, I missed you so much I nearly went mad. If only I hadn't raised you as my nephew. I picked up the photo she dropped on the floor. A handsome young man, bearing some resemblance to me. But I knew clearly, between Jibota and me, I was the expendable stand-in. So from that moment on, the little affection I had for Liu Ryan burned to ashes. I dutifully played the role of her stand-in, enduring the vile things Liu Ryan wouldn't dare do to Jibota, waiting for my mother's recovery, so I could leave immediately, without lingering a moment longer. But in the end, all I got was my mother's body, and Liu Ryan's cold words. Was I wrong? I stared at that message for a long time. Instinctively, I opened Liu Ryan's social media. Beaches, seas, sunsets, and the reckless Jibota, all built on my mother's life. I hailed a cab back to the villa to pack. As soon as I entered, I saw Liu Ryan's grim face, sitting on the living room sofa. Where were you? Why didn't you answer my messages? Cold and heartless, arrogant and self-righteous. I couldn't fathom how I ever felt any affection for her. Seeing I had no intention of responding, Liu Ryan strode forward and shoved me hard. Long Ocean, you made Jibota so upset. What right do you have to throw a tantrum at me? My back slammed against the wall, leaving a streak of blood, yet I calmly met her cruel eyes. So what now? How should I apologize to him this time? Crush rocks on my chest, break my other hand, or drink 10 more bottles of liquor? The submissive kept man suddenly bared sharp claws. Liu Ryan flinched, but unusually she calmed down and said, "Come with me to the old mansion. Grandfather wants to see you." As if recalling something, she added, "You'll get 10000. You know what to say and what not to." I gave a bitter laugh. The Liu family always valued propriety. So when old Master Liu discovered Liu Ryan's feelings for Jibota weren't pure, he sent Jibota abroad without a second thought. Then old Master Liu arranged countless blind dates for Liu Ryan, but she only had eyes for me in the corner, simply because I looked so much like Jibota. That night she secretly drugged my wine, and fueled by alcohol forced herself on me. One craved love, the other craved money. So we naturally became patron and kept man. The scenery outside the window blurred past. The car stopped at the Liu family's old mansion. As soon as the door opened, Jibota threw himself into Liu Ryan's arms. "Ryan, I missed you so much." Liu Ryan's stern face softened instantly. She affectionately tapped his nose. "Why aren't you wearing shoes? What if you catch a cold?" "I'd rather catch a cold, so you'd stay by my side forever." They flirted shamelessly, like lovers in the heat of romance. The butler nearby tactfully advised Miss Liu Ryan, "The master hasn't been well lately. You should be more restrained." The last time they visited the mansion, Liu Ryan fought with old Master Liu over Jibota, sending his blood pressure soaring. He was rushed to the hospital that night. Liu Ryan frowned displeased. Why does grandfather suddenly want to see Long Ocean? Are there more rumors swirling around the Liu family? Just then, an authoritative voice came from upstairs. What rumors can't I hear? Old Master Liu descended steadily, leaning on his cane. The butler hurried to support him. Besides my mother, Old Master Liu was the only one who truly treated me like family. He looked at me with warmth, then saw Liu Ryan and Ji Boda tangled together. His anger flared instantly. What decency is this? Clinging to each other. Liu Ryan's expression cooled. She reluctantly let go of Ji Boda's hand. What do you want with me and Long Ocean? Old Master Liu snorted coldly. It's about your marriage to Ocean, of course. You've been together 5 years. It's time to talk about marriage. I've already arranged it. 1 month from today, you and Ocean must get married. At those words, Ji Boda's face paled instantly. Liu Ryan flatly refused. I won't agree. Old Master Liu furious raised his cane. You fool! You insisted on being with Ocean and swore before your parents' graves to give him happiness. But now what? Year after year of delays. How many more years will you waste of Ocean's life? I lowered my gaze, suddenly remembering Liu Ryan and I had happy memories too. In the cutthroat world of business, such a ruthless woman once hesitated for my sake, thought of my needs. Because I said stop creating bloodshed, Liu Ryan spared an assassin who tried to kill her. From then on, everyone knew she had a weakness, a staunch materialist. On the 3rd night of my unrelenting fever, she climbed a mountain to pray to the gods. Because I casually mentioned liking baby's breath, she planted fields of it around the villa. But later those fields of baby's breath were all dedicated to Ji Boda. And now, at this moment, Ji Boda's eyes reddened. Liu Ryan would defy the world for him. I want marry Long Ocean. He's not worthy of me. She even took Ji Boda's hand, her eyes filled with reckless devotion. The one I truly love is Ji Boda. I'll marry no one but him. I can agree to publicly claim Long Ocean as my fiancé, but marry him, I can't do it. With that, she knelt with a thud. Ji Boda followed, kneeling before Old Master Liu, his tear-filled eyes brimming with defiance. Grandfather, please let me be with Ryan. Old Master Liu's breathing grew ragged. His chest heaved violently. Get to the ancestral hall and kneel. Under countless shocked gazes, Liu Ryan and Ji Boda, hands clasped, walked into the ancestral hall together. I watched the whole scene expressionlessly, feeling only absurdity. I took a wooden box from my bag. Inside was an expensive jade pendant, an heirloom of the Liu family. Old Master Liu froze. Ocean, what are you doing? I stepped back and bowed deeply. Grandfather, thank you for your care these past 5 years. But I can't stay by Liu Ryan's side any longer. Old Master Liu tried to persuade me to stay, but I didn't hesitate. I set down the jade pendant and left without looking back. As I passed the prayer room, heated gasps came from within. Through the door's crack, I could see Liu Ryan and Ji Boda pressed close, as if proclaiming to their ancestors that they were the true lovers. I didn't linger. I turned and left the Liu family mansion. I went to the bank first and transferred the entire 25 million to Liu Ryan's account. Then I went to the Liu Corporation and resigned as Liu Ryan's secretary. The HR manager, one of my few friends, said sincerely, Long Ocean, congratulations on escaping this nightmare. I felt a weight lift off me. I owed Liu Ryan nothing. That night back at the villa, a water glass shattered at my feet. Flying shards cut my arm. Liu Ryan stormed toward me furious and slapped me hard. Long Ocean, grandfather treated you like his own grandson, yet you pushed him down the stairs to kill him. My cheeks swelled from the blow, but I asked anxiously, how could grandfather have fallen? What did the doctor say? A pitiful voice came from upstairs. Mr. Long, the butler already identified you as the one who pushed grandfather down, and you're still pretending to be innocent. Ryan, is this the man you chose? He did it but won't own up. What a coward. I was shoved hard into a corner, stumbling, barely staying upright. But in the corner of my eye, I caught Ji Boda's scheming look. That moment my scalp tingled. I knew without a doubt It was Jiboda who pushed old Master Liu down the stairs. A sharp ringtone cut through the air. The butler's voice came through Miss. The master just had sudden massive bleeding, but the hospital's blood bank is critically low. I couldn't hear what else the butler said, because Jiboda fanned the flames. Ryan, I remember Long Aocean's blood type. Matches grandfather's, doesn't it? A bonnet deep fear spread from my solace to my heart. The next second, Liu Ryan dragged me to the hospital and strapped me into the emergency room. Draw his blood. As long as it saves the master, it doesn't matter if he dies. Thick ropes bound me. A cold needle pierced my vein. My eyes brimmed with disappointment and helplessness. Liu Ryan, even if you didn't ask, I'd willingly donate blood for grandfather. But I didn't push him down the stairs. You can't insult my character like this. Liu Ryan sneered coldly. Still lying, grandfather was so good to you, and this is how you repay him. You'd better pray he's fine, or it'll make you pay with your life. Anger, grievance, pain, despair swirled in my chest. I felt my blood draining away, my body temperature plummeting, as if I were nearing the end of my life. In that helpless moment, my mother must have suffered like this too. In a daze, a tear slid from my eye. I thought I heard my mother calling me. Mother, have you come to take me? I had a long dream. In it, Jiboda hadn't returned. Liu Ryan and I were still a couple in love. She'd proudly introduced me to her friends, showing me off to the world, as if I were her entire universe. She'd visit my mother in the hospital with me, going out of her way to win her approval, carefully pleading to be accepted as a daughter-in-law. She did so much for me, gave me countless moments of fluttering heartbeats. I truly believed we had a future, until a bucket of ice water poured over me, soaking my thin clothes. A chill seeped into my bones, making me writhe in agony. The dream shattered as I woke. Liu Ryan sat high above me, staring down coldly. You should be grateful grandfather pulled through, or your life would have ended on that operating table. But until he wakes, you'll stay here and reflect, ready to donate blood at any moment. My mind buzzed. A chill ran down my spine. This confinement room was where Liu Ryan dealt with her enemies. Countless lives had perished here, year after year, shrouded in darkness, the air thick with the stench of blood. Once I asked her, if we ever became enemies, would you lock me up here to torment me? Back then, Liu Ryan swore solemnly, never. We'll never be enemies. But now, for a flimsy, hollow-ridden lie, she threw me into this purgatory of bones. I was utterly disappointed. My heart felt like it was being sliced open bit by bit with a dull knife. I spoke up for myself, each word deliberate. I didn't push grandfather down. I didn't do it, and that's the truth. I'm not wrong, and I won't stay here to reflect on nothing. I struggled to stand, but my body felt broken, unable to rise. Liu Ryan sneered, Long Aocean. You really know how to play the victim while standing tall, but I won't believe a single word you say anymore. With that, she turned and left. The lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. I was trapped in a pitch-black, blood-soaked void. A wave of intense fear overwhelming me, pushing me to the brink of collapse. I suffer from claustrophobia. In severe cases, I could suffocate and pass out. Once, for my sake, Liu Ryan kept the villa brightly lit at all times. But now the confinement room's door was flung open. Jiboda loomed over me, staring down at my face. His tone dripped with contempt. Pretty boy, if it weren't for your face resembling mine, Ryan wouldn't have spared you a glance. But it doesn't matter. Once I ruin that face of yours, you'll never seduce Ryan again. He advanced with a knife step by step. His eyes burned with jealous, unrequited rage. He swung the blade wildly at my face. Survival instinct made my eyes blaze red. I raised my hand to block it instinctively, but the expected pain never came. A furious voice roared from the doorway. The next second, a brutal force shoved me to the ground. My forehead slammed into the corner of the wall. Worst of all, I landed on a pile of bones. The crisp sound of crushing bones made my scalp crawl. But what I couldn't believe most was Jiboda stabbing the knife into his own left shoulder. He collapsed into a pool of blood. Long Aocean, I came to save you out of kindness, and you tried to kill me. Panic seized me. I desperately wanted to explain to Liu Ryan I didn't harm Djibouti, but Liu Ryan was even more frantic than I was. She hurriedly had the blooded Djibouti rushed to the hospital. She summoned the most renowned doctors to operate on him. Her white dress was stained red with blood. Her arm bled from scraping a rusty iron gate. Her eyes were bloodshot, frantic, and fragile, completely unraveling. Even her friends who came to comfort her were pushed away by her. Get out, she even knelt before a window with a thud, praying devoutly, if Djibouti dies, I won't live on alone. This was a Liu Ryan I'd never seen. The operating room door suddenly opened. A nurse rushed out. The patient is hemorrhaging badly, but the hospital's blood bank is critically low. Liu Ryan rolled up her sleeve without hesitation. Draw my blood. Djibouti and I have the same blood type. I can save him. Sister Ryan, are you insane? Her friends grabbed her, shocked. He's just a man. No matter how much you love him, he's not worth this. Liu Ryan's gaze was chillingly cold. Djibouti is my greatest love, my life. Without him, I can't go on. The surgery lasted a day and a night. Djibouti finally pulled through. Though Liu Ryan lost too much blood, she was overjoyed. She cleared out the entire hospital, bringing in every doctor to serve Djibouti alone. She stayed by his side, never leaving. Everyone praised the greatness of their love, but I couldn't help recalling my mother's tragic state before her death. So life and death were Liu Ryan's to decide. How ironic, Djibouti was hospitalized for half a month, and Liu Ryan stayed by him for half a month. In those 2 weeks, I packed my belongings, moved out of the villa that trapped me for 5 years, and used my meager savings to rent a small apartment, then returned to my old part-time job at the bar. I had to survive these last 2 weeks before I could officially return to the National Research Institute, but I didn't expect to run into Liu Ryan so soon. To celebrate Djibouti's discharge, Liu Ryan booked the entire bar, inviting all the city's elite to party through the night. The bar was dimly lit, the music deafeningly loud. Liu Ryan doted on Djibouti with utmost care. Her clique of sycophantic friends hovered around Djibouti, fawning over him. I wanted no more dealings with them, so I texted my boss to take leave. Just as I was about to leave, Djibouti called out, Long Ocean, you did such awful things to me, and you don't even have an apology. Are you trying to run away now? Djibouti's redrimmed eyes glared at me with pity, but I only gave him a cold glance. I'll say it again. I didn't do those things. If you keep spreading lies, they'll sue you for slander. I turned to leave, but Liu Ryan had her bodyguards block my path. Liquor was poured over my head. An unprecedented wave of humiliation engulfed me. The blaring music stopped abruptly. The raucous crowd fell silent instantly. They stared at me, gloating. You did wrong and now you want to flee. Long Ocean, how did I not see before? What a vicious person you are. First grandfather, and now you dare lay hands on Djibouti. What's next? Making me your puppet to keep by your side forever. Liu Ryan, exhausted from days of strain, looked pale, her gaze sharp as a blade fixed on me. I felt weary to my core. I've said it before. I didn't harm grandfather, nor did I hurt Djibouti. The words felt hollow even to me. The cameras were broken, the witnesses bought off, and there was Liu Ryan blind to right and wrong for love. I swear that knife wasn't my doing. If I'm lying even a little, may I never find peace in this life. But Djibouti, do you dare swear? This wasn't your own staged act. Enough. Liu Ryan cut me off coldly. She shielded Djibouti behind her. Long Ocean, you still don't repent. Don't blame me for ignoring our past and using family law against you. My knees buckled under me. Several bodyguards pinned me down, forcing me to kneel before the crowd struggling. The threat of death tightened my chest. Liu Ryan took a whip from a bodyguard and approached me step by step. Are you scared? Did you ever think how grandfather and Djibouti felt when you hurt them? They didn't feel it was too late to say goodnight. A whip lashed across my back. My body convulsed as if struck by lightning. The pain left me speechless. Speak. Liu Ryan's voice rose sharply, thundering with fury. Do you admit your fault? My voice was weak but defiant. Liu Ryan laughed in The whip rose again, you won't admit it. You think denying it erases what you did. You're a sinner. The crack of the whip and the crowd's mocking laughter choked the air from my lungs. But the more they pressed, the more stubborn I became. I even burst into laughter, tears streaming down my face. I'm not wrong, I confess. The biggest mistake of my life was meeting a beast like you. Liu Ryan, you're the vilest criminal of all. Jibota frowned long ocean. I won't let you talk about Ryan like that. What are you anyway? You think you're any better? I cut him off coldly, cursing like a madman. Just a dog riding on someone else's power. What right do you have to order me? Crack, crack, crack. Liu Ryan's fury ignited. She whipped me relentlessly, heedless of restraint. The first strike. This is for grandfather. The second strike. This is for trying to kill Jibota. The third strike. This is to warn you never to dream of being the Liu family's master. 64 lashed, each one searing into my heart. Blood surged to my throat. I spat out a mouthful and fainted on the spot. When I came to, I was lying in a hospital room. The TV was looping a live video of me being whipped. My pain-suppressed roars fueled their twisted celebration. My blooded back was doused with countless cups of liquor by cruel hands. I lay like a pile of mud abandoned in a corner until the bar owner, during a routine check, found me barely alive and saved me. No grief is greater than a dead heart. I couldn't shed a single tear. When I woke, the hospital room door had opened at some point. Jibota strolled in leisurely, his face flushed with health. Nothing like someone recovering from a grave injury. Those 2 weeks in the hospital, you were faking it, weren't you? So what if I was? He smirked smugly. As long as I play the pitiful card, Ryan will go through hell for me. Soon, he'll stand by her side openly. He tossed a plastic bag at me. Inside was my mother's urn. My blood froze in my veins. With trembling hands, I opened the urn. It was completely empty. What did you do? Where are my mother's ashes? Jibota grinned maliciously, savoring my anguish. A pile of worthless ashes, buried wasteland. Better to feed them to stray dogs for nature's benefit. Oh, I forgot to mention stopping your mother's treatment was my idea too. See, with just one word from me, Ryan could heartlessly kill your closest kin. What can you possibly compare to me? As if to flaunt Liu Ryan's favor, Jibota raised his left hand, a ring gleaming on his ring finger. I recognized it. 6 months ago at an auction, Liu Ryan spent $100 million on that ring. Back then, everyone thought Liu Ryan and I were a perfect match. The venue buzzed with cheers for our engagement, but Liu Ryan coldly declared Hayes not worthy. Ryan said, "I'm worthy of all the world's treasures, including Heronly. I'm worthy of her." Jibota boasted smugly, but I couldn't hold back anymore. I swung my hand and slapped him. I grabbed Jibota's throat. You killed my mother. You deserve to die. The vendetta for her murder made my eyes blaze. In stark contrast to Jibota's smug confidence, a vase smashed onto my head. Hot blood dripped from my forehead to the floor. Liu Ryan shoved me away and slapped me hard across the face. Madman! My heart felt gripped by an invisible hand, aching terribly. I can be even madder. Hatred drove me to pick up a shard of the vase. I aimed for the artery in Jibota's neck, but Liu Ryan grabbed my wrist. You killed my mother. You both deserve to die. My eyes were bloodshot with rage. Only then did Liu Ryan sense something was off. Her gaze fell on the urn in my arms. Her eyes filled with shock. What does this mean? Your mother. Fragments of memories flashed through her mind, settling on a month ago. Didn't she have surgery last week? Skipping one won't kill her, will it? As guilt flickered in Liu Ryan's eyes, Jibota interrupted her thoughts. Ryan don't believe a word he says. 2 days ago, I saw his mother walking downstairs at the hospital. How could she just die like that? Long Ocean. To make Ryan pity you, you'd even lie about your mother's death. At that, the trace of guilt in Liu Ryan's eyes vanished, turning to ice. She ordered me thrown into a mental hospital and instructed the staff to give me special care. On my first day in the mental hospital, I smashed a window to escape, but was caught and beaten brutally. The second day, I was strapped to an operating table and had a kidney removed without anesthesia. On the third day, I finally broke and begged to see Liu Ryan, but only a pack of ravenous dogs came. Their eyes gleamed with ferocity, quickly locking onto me as their target. They lunged, tearing at my face. I fought with hands and feet. My terrified screams only fueled their predatory instincts. The dogs pinned me down. Their sharp teeth tore into my flesh. From above, Jiboda's mocking voice rang out. Long Ocean, are you so desperate you'd even take on wild dogs? Whether you survive today depends on your luck. Blood rushed to my head. It felt like the world was collapsing. How I wished this was all a dream. How I wished I'd never loved Liu Ryan. But we were once so close, so inseparable. In the bedroom, the study, the bathroom, even her office. We made passionate vows, lost in reckless abandon. I never imagined one day that intimacy would become the weapon to kill me, as I considered biting my tongue to end it. The door was kicked open. Liu Ryan stormed in with a group of bodyguards, her eyes blazing with violence. The bodyguards quickly subdued the dogs, beating them until their flesh split open. Their agonized howls pierced the night. Licentia de conducer. The room reeked of blood. After years, I felt Liu Ryan's presence again. My body trembled, my vision blackened, and I fainted in her arms. When I woke again, I was lying on the villa's bed. A piercing scream came from the living room. I struggled out of bed and cracked the door open, just in time to see Liu Ryan sitting expressionlessly on the sofa, across from her blooded dogs. She ordered the bodyguards to hack off their limbs and leave them barely alive. At that moment, Liu Ryan was like a Grim Reaper. Even if Long Ocean is trash I discarded, no one else has the right to harm him. With a glance to her bodyguards, the dogs were dragged away. I felt a chill run through me, as if everything recently was just a dream. But the searing pain made me nearly collapse. The scars on my back split open. The pain made me gasp. Hearing the noise, Liu Ryan walked toward the room. Her expression unexpectedly softened, but her words were as cruel as ever. This was Jiboda's mistake, unintentional. Since you're fine now, don't hold it against him. She tossed me a forgiveness agreement. Sign this. Swear you won't use this against Jiboda, and I'll waive the 208 million you owe. As for your mother, I'll have doctors do their best to save her. As if fearing I'd misunderstand, Liu Ryan added, don't get the wrong idea. The one I love will always be Jiboda. But for the sake of our 5 years together, I can ensure you live comfortably for life. She spoke with such condescension, like when she humiliated me at the bar. It's just pocket change, like tossing scraps to a beggar. So she saw me as a beggar by the roadside, a little charity, and I'd be groveling in gratitude. Maybe before I would've been. For my mother, I could endure anything, but now I had no weaknesses left. Seeing my hesitation, Liu Ryan tossed the agreement at me. Sign it and bring it to the company. She stood and left, her back radiating arrogance. My heart was dead. I tore the agreement to shreds with a sneer. Without hesitation, I called the police and reported Jiboda's crimes under my real name. At midnight, the clock struck 12. I glanced at the calendar in the corner and the clock. 10 hours left, and I'd leave this place for good. I packed my bags, took a hot shower. Before leaving, I visited the cemetery. I buried the empty urn in the soil, knelt before my mother's tombstone, and cowed out 3 times. The emotions I'd suppressed for so long erupted, my voice thick with sobs. Mom, I'm going to chase true freedom now. If you're watching from above, you'd be happy for me, right? A firefly landed on my finger. Its wings fluttered faintly. Its dim glow illuminated the photo on the tombstone. My mother's smile was still gentle and warm. Its tenderness almost overflowed. She lay on the tombstone, quietly watching me, as if we'd returned to the past. When my mother comforted me countless times, our Aoshin is a grown man now. Why are you still crying? I slept soundly that night. When I woke, sunlight spilled across the floor. My future was coming. My phone buzzed. It was a wedding invitation from Jiboda and a message from the police. Mr. Long Ocean, Your case has been accepted and is under investigation. I smiled a rare, genuine smile. I silently deleted the digital wedding invitation and blocked G. Boater and all of Liu Ryan's contact methods. Half an hour later, I boarded the plane. The moment we soared into the clouds, the taut strings of my nerves finally loosened. I would never see Liu Ryan again. From now on, vast mountains and rivers would stretch between us. I was free. The night I left the villa, G. Boater proposed to Liu Ryan. The proposal shook the entire city. The live broadcast dominated Weibo's trending lists. Countless big-name bloggers rushed to repost it. Beneath a virtual starry sky, G. Boater knelt on one knee. He offered a ring with reverence. His voice trembled with nerves. Ryan, will you marry me? The crowd erupted in gasps. Cheers of "marry him" grew louder amid flowers and applause. Liu Ryan's eyes reddened suddenly. She answered firmly yet tenderly, I will. Dozens of drones formed an arrow-pierced heart in the sky. A lavish fireworks show lasted to full hours. At that same moment, screens on skyscrapers across the city began looping a montage of Liu Ryan and Jibo Das decade-long romance. Every romantic moment showcased their deep, grand love, a love so profound and extravagant. The young couple, amid the roaring crowd, embraced and kissed, sparking countless blessings online. Digging this sweetness, may they last forever. 188 centimeters tall, handsome, and devoted. Such a man is only fit for our President Liu. A few unkind comments surfaced. Has everyone lost their memory? Didn't President Liu have a fiancé before? But the next day, Liu Ryan personally responded. The one I've loved from start to finish is G. Boater. No one else. Attached were photos of her and Jibo Da. Sweet moments over the past 10 years. G. Boater leaned on Liu Ryan's shoulder, contentedly scrolling through the online blessings. Ryan, aren't you afraid Long Aocean will see this pose and feel heartbroken? Liu Ryan fondly tapped his nose. He was just a stand-in. Why care about him? Satisfied with her answer, G. Boater pressed further and suggested they marry. Liu Ryan hesitated slightly. She could ignore public opinion to give G. Boater a title, but she also had to consider old Master Lia's feelings, fearing he'd be shocked if he woke up and learned of this. But those concerns couldn't outweigh a single tear from G. Boater. Liu Ryan decided then and there to give G. Boater a wedding of the century, set for 1 month later. She, known as a workaholic, dropped all her work to personally oversee every detail of the wedding. The flowers had to be red roses flown in from abroad. The wedding dress and suit were urgently designed by royal designers. Even the venue's decorations were arranged by Liu Ryan herself. She wanted her beloved to be the happiest man in the world. On the eve of the wedding, Liu Ryan finally had a moment to breathe and scheduled a celebratory banquet. Who would thought? Sister Ryan, you're the first among us to get married. Her brothers sighed in amazement. Back when old Master Liu made you choose between Long Aocean and G. Boater, when you wavered between the two, we all bet on who you'd pick. Yeah, Sister Ryan, if you really marry G. Boater, won't that lapdog Long Aocean cry himself to death? Right, Long Aocean was so devoted to you, giving his heart and soul, always at your beck and call. A top-tier lapdog like that is great to keep on the side. Ha ha ha, enough. Liu Ryan's face darkened. Her tone carried a warning. Long Aocean was just a dispensable stand-in. Even if he comes crawling back, the one I love will only ever be G. Boater. For some reason, Liu Ryan suddenly felt irritated. She downed a bottle of wine, realizing it had been a while since she saw me or heard any news about me. Could he have given up? Liu Ryan felt a pang of gloom, but then recalled our 5 years together and thought it impossible. I'd always been at her beck and call. How could I give up so easily? Could he be planning to crash the wedding? The thought made Liu Ryan uneasy. In her mind, she'd already branded me as unreasonably disruptive, finding me utterly irrational. The noisy private room fell quiet for a moment. Someone finally asked Sister Ryan, "What do you plan to do with Long Aocean?" Their eyes gleamed with greed and desire, as if with one word from her, I'd become their plaything. Liu Ryan's heart swirled with mixed emotions. She snapped impatiently, "Don't touch him," under countless shocked gazes. She stormed out of the room. That night back at the villa, Jibota wore a sheer suit, trying to seduce her to bed as usual. In the past, Liu Ryan would have been swept away by his charm, but now she rarely lit a cigarette. For the first time, Liu Ryan brushed off Jibota. "We have the wedding tomorrow. Get some sleep." Jibota refused to let it go, so she coaxed him to sleep with tender words. But she herself couldn't sleep, tossing and turning for hours. She finally got up and took a cold shower. The cold water didn't quell her urges. Instead, it ignited a longing for me deep in her heart. Liu Ryan couldn't help but miss the days she and I spent in bed. My hazy, passionate gaze, my chiseled muscular abs, and my shy, captivating moans all became the fleeting scenery of her longing. In a trance, a pair of strong arms wrapped around her waist. She couldn't hold back anymore. She spun around and kissed fiercely. The sticky sounds of lips and suppressed moans intertwined, each note more fervent than the last, as if the next moment would carry them to paradise. Aoshin Jiboda's heart felt something surging within. His pride wounded, he shoved Liu Ryan away, pushing her forcefully. "Liu Ryan, look at who I am." Liu Ryan snapped away. The moment she saw who stood before her, a trace of disappointment flickered through her. Jibota complained in disbelief. "Liu Ryan, if you love Long Aoshin, go find him. Why are you still marrying me?" Hearing this, Liu Ryan panicked visibly. She gripped his hand tightly. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the one I love is you. Always you, don't cry please. Your tears break my heart." Her words flipped a switch. Jibota burst into tears. Clinging to her waist, he asked, "Really? Really, I swear." Liu Ryan looked at his tear-streaked face. Her heart clenched painfully. She hugged him tightly. "I swear. Liu Ryan will love Jibota forever. If I break this vow, may I never find peace in this life." Her words barely finished. Jibota frantically covered her mouth. "Are you crazy? The Liu family forbids such oaths." Swearing was taboo in the Liu family, but now Liu Ryan for him repeatedly defied their rules, even clashing with the family elders. At that thought, Jibota broke into a tearful smile. He quickly extended his hand. "Then let's pinky swear. Neither of us can betray the other." "All right," Liu Ryan said solemnly, hooking her finger with his. It was late into the night by the time Jibota fell asleep. Liu Ryan went to the study to work, but couldn't focus on any documents. Her heart was in chaos. She couldn't help thinking of me, recalling my bright sun-like smile, as if an angel had descended into her world. I could knit the warmest scarves in the world, cook steaming delicious meals, and wield a scalpel with miraculous skill, steadily saving lives. I seemed all-powerful, with a core so strong and unshakable. Between her and me, I was always the steady anchor. But after Jibota returned, everything changed. I grew quiet and withdrawn, obsessed with money, always talking about cash, cash, cash. Liu Ryan felt a surge of irritation. She grabbed her phone and opened our chat history after so long, but the empty chat box and call log left her stunned. How could this be? She exited and re-entered, refreshed the phone countless times, but still received no messages from me. Though I rarely messaged her these years, I'd at least send a greeting or two, or ask for money for my mother's treatment. But this time I was unusually silent. Liu Ryan typed and deleted in the chat, wanting to ask how I'd been lately. In the end, she silently flipped the phone face down on the desk. Irritated, she glanced out the window. The sun rose slowly from the clouds, but the sky was half gloomy, half clear, accompanied by faint thunder. Unsettlingly strange. Like her suppressed complex mood, the preset alarm rang out. Liu Ryan pushed down her unease and called for Jibota to wake up. 2 hours later, the wedding venue was filled with guests. Liu Ryan waited in the dressing room. As the wedding drew near, Liu Ryan grew anxious. On one hand, she was glad I didn't show up at the wedding, sparing her the trouble of dealing with me. On the other hand, she felt a pang of loss that I wasn't there. After all, she and I had been entangled for 5 years. There was some bond between us. She hoped I'd attend as a friend, to witness her wedding, and quietly exit her life for good. So, she picked up her phone and texted me, "Where are you now?" The moment the message sent, a staff member knocked on her door. "President Liu, it's almost time. You can head down for the entrance now." Liu Ryan replied quickly, "I'm coming." She didn't notice the red exclamation mark that appeared in the chat on her phone. The wedding venue was grand. Flowers, fine wine, a red carpet meticulously prepared by Liu Ryan. Jiboda stood under the floral arch, gazing tenderly at the banquet hall's entrance. The moment the music changed, the doors opened. Liu Ryan, dressed radiantly, walked firmly toward Jiboda. She was about to marry the man she'd loved for years, to spend a lifetime together. But Liu Ryan, staring at Jiboda's smiling face, felt an inexplicable emptiness inside. Something felt off, though she couldn't place it. In a daze, my figure appeared before her eyes, gently calling, "Ryan, will you marry me someday?" The voice in Liu Ryan's memory overlapped with the one before her. Jiboda gazed at her solemnly. "If finally married you." Liu Ryan snapped back to reality, realizing she was at her wedding. Standing before her was the man she'd vowed to spend her life with. Her voice softened unconsciously. "Jiboda, I love you," but as the words left her lips, the banquet hall doors were flung open rudely. A group of police officers approached Jiboda. They flashed their badges and handcuffed Jiboda in front of everyone. "Jiboda, you're suspected of intentional homicide. Come with us." The lively hall fell deathly silent. Jiboda's face was streaked with terrified tears. He cried out in panic, "Why are you arresting me, Ryan? Save me!" Liu Ryan quickly regained her composure, stepping forward to stop the police. "Is there a mistake? Jiboda is so kind. How could he possibly kill someone?" The lead officer responded formally, as one of the involved parties. "President Liu, you must come with us too." The meticulously planned wedding came to an abrupt halt, causing a citywide sensation. Major media outlets scrambled to report the story. In the police station, Liu Ryan, with a grim face, reviewed the damning evidence. Her heart grew cold. Beyond maliciously targeting me, causing civil harm, Jiboda had bribed the mental hospital's director to orchestrate violence against me, Mr. Long Aocean. The officer paused, then handed her another file. "Mr. Long Aocean is also suing Jiboda and refuses to settle." The overwhelming information left Liu Ryan breathless. She desperately wanted to defend Jiboda, to tell everyone he wasn't that kind of person. But the bank transfer records, the vile chat logs, and the irrefutable surveillance footage pinned her in place, unable to move or speak. She thought Jiboda was just insecure and childish, but inherently good. She remembered him as a boy, crying over accidentally killing a butterfly, unable to speak through his sobs, yet now had twisted so far as to commit murder by proxy, claiming he had no guilt. When Liu Ryan visited him during detention, seeing Jiboda's pale face and his tear-filled eyes, the anger and disappointment in her heart faded away. Her heart ached for Jiboda. He threw himself at her, sobbing, "Ryan, I'm sorry, I just loved you too much. That's why I did those irrational things to Long Aocean. I was so scared you'd be taken by him. I know I was wrong. Please save me. I don't want to go to jail. I still want to be your groom." Liu Ryan felt exhausted, but still patiently comforted him. "Don't cry. I won't let anything happen to you. As for the marriage, we'll talk about it later." She gently pulled her hand from Jiboda's and left without looking back. A week later, Liu Ryan kept her promise and bailed Jiboda out, but began deliberately distancing herself from him. She no longer catered to his every whim, nor stayed by his side constantly, not even responding to his texts or calls. "Sister Ryan, are you locking your heart away?" her friends teased her. "If it doesn't work out, go back to Long Aocean. We all saw how devoted he was to you, and how much old Master Liu liked him. Why hang yourself on Jiboda's tree after so many days?" Hearing my name again, Liu Ryan found herself missing me. Under the influence of alcohol, she couldn't help comparing me to Jiboda, two men with similar faces, but vastly different natures. Jiboda was like an immature child, always throwing tantrums to get her attention, demanding her world revolve around him alone. And she, for him, had abandoned major projects, given up her role as the Liu family heir, sinking into a life consumed by love. In contrast, I never made unreasonable demands. I was warm and radiant, never causing a scene, cooking porridge myself when she was sick, feeding her warm, comforting spoonfuls, staying patiently by her side when she was busy, quietly reading a book nearby, reminding her to drink water and rest on time. In her moments of frustration and confusion, I calmly guided her, even pointing out her next steps, always responsive, never letting her down. A man so exceptional. Had it not been for my sick mother, I could have been a towering figure, yet I stayed by her side without complaint, accepting my lot with grace, loving to the fullest, be it romantic or familial love. At that thought, Liu Ryan suddenly remembered. She hadn't checked my message. She hurriedly grabbed her phone, only to see a red exclamation mark. Her heart sank sharply. All these years, no matter how far she went, I never spoke a harsh word to her, let alone blocked her. How could I, who loved her so much, ever block her? Was I playing hard to get? With that thought, Liu Ryan's uneasy heart began to calm, even feeling a flicker of being cared for. Ignoring the shocked looks around her, she left the gathering early, driving to the villa. She passed a wonton shop in the north of the city. She stopped to buy a bowl of crab wontons. I used to love that shop's wontons, driving an hour just to savor a bowl. As long as she brought me those crab wontons and offered a proper apology, I'd surely forgive her. Liu Ryan was brimming with confidence. The car sped into the villa district, but while the surrounding villas glowed with light, the one I lived in was pitch black. Maybe Hayes asleep, she thought. With that, Liu Ryan entered the villa full of anticipation, heading straight to my room. She couldn't wait to embrace me, to pull me close and pour out her recent confusion. But the moment the light flicked on, her gaze met an empty room. The desk, the wardrobe, the bookshelf, all bare ocean. She searched the entire villa, but found no trace of me. Even my suitcase was gone. A terrifying realization dawned in her heart. I had truly left. Impossible. Liu Ryan frantically rejected the thought. She sped to the hospital. I loved her so much. My mother was still there. How could I possibly leave? But when she reached the hospital, the room where my mother had stayed held someone else. My mother's doctor informed her. My mother passed away 2 months ago. That night I came to the hospital with 25 million, begging them to perform surgery on my mother. But you ordered us not to save her, so we didn't dare proceed with the surgery. That evening, I knelt before my mother crying for hours. Even the funeral was arranged with the help of a nurse. President Wu, I thought you knew all this. Liu Ryan's face twisted sharply. That night when I called her, she could hear the agony in my sobs, but clouded by alcohol, she shattered all my hopes, and later humiliated Emmy, saying I'd lie even about my mother's life. Just thinking about it filled me with despair, let alone having lived through it all. Yet she knew nothing, living carefree with G. Boater, entangled together. Liu Ryan dialed my number without hesitation. "Hey, Ocean!" But the line returned a cold mechanical voice. "Sorry, the number you've dialed is switched off. Please try again later." Crackly, Ryan smashed her phone. I never imagined I'd blocked all her contact methods. This was a resolute decision to leave her. The thought that I might never return stirred a raw panic deep in Liu Ryan's heart. She grabbed a spare phone and dialed another number. "Find out where Long Aocean went. Bring him back the moment you locate him." That evening, her assistant called President Liu. "We found." Mr. Long's last known location was the airport, but he booked multiple flights at once, and we're not sure which plane he actually took. Liu Ryan's brows furrowed deeply. How could you not find him? It seems someone deliberately erased Mr. Long's tracks. We couldn't find a single clue. Also, we discovered that 2 months ago, Mr. Long transferred a sum to your account, a total of 25 million. The 25 million felt like a taunt of her failure. Liu Ryan, furious and humiliated, shouted, "Keep searching." She smashed the phone again, her neck veins bulging with rage. Liu Ryan had thought I was just playing hard to get, seeking revenge for her refusal to help and marrying Jibo. She never expected I'd leave so decisively, even hiring someone to erase my tracks. Was this a vow to never see her again? Liu Ryan downed to bottles of liquor in frustration, but the villa's doorbell suddenly rang. Her eyes once dulled by despair lit up. She rushed downstairs to open the door. "You still know to come back." Her words fell short. As she saw her assistant's awkward expression, hope crumbled once more. "What are you doing here?" The assistant replied respectfully. "President Liu, your phone was unreachable, so I had to come in person. The hospital called Old Master Liu is away." Half an hour later, Liu Ryan appeared at the hospital. Her black trench coat made her face look even grimmer. "Grandfather." Old Master Liu struck her back with his cane. "Kneel." Under his absolute authority, Liu Ryan dropped to her knees. "Do you know? It was Jibo who pushed me down the stairs, nearly costing me my life, and you still held a wedding with him. Where does that leave Aoshin? Where does that leave the Liu family's honor?" Old Master Liu pounded the floor with his cane, each strike hitting Liu Ryan's heart. She snapped her head up, eyes full of disbelief. "Grandfather, who did you say pushed you down?" "Of course it was Jibo. He came to me demanding the Liu family's heirloom jade, begging me to let him marry you. I refused, and he pushed me down in a fit of rage." Liu Ryan, this is the nephew you raised for 10 years. A heartless and grateful Volve. His words, raw and piercing, left Liu Ryan drowning in shame. She never imagined the white moonlight she cherished for years could be so vicious and vile, committing murder, framing the innocent, hiring thugs to torment me. Each act alone was enough for a prison sentence. "How dare Jibo?" Liu Ryan said solemnly. "Grandfather, rest assured, I'll make this right." After leaving the hospital, I went straight to Jibo's villa. Jibo, neglected for days, was both overjoyed and aggrieved. "Ryan, you finally came to see me. I thought you were angry and done with me." He tried his old tricks. Cheap tears, falling like broken beads. But they no longer moved Liu Ryan. "Come with me somewhere." An hour later, Liu Ryan brought Jibo to their destination. The evening sky, once clear, was now flashing with lightning and thunder. Dark clouds pressed over half the horizon, heavy with oppression. A chilly breeze swept through. Jibo shivered. "Ryan, why did you bring me here? This place is too eerie. Can we go back?" He clung tightly to Liu Ryan's hand, his eyes full of pleading. In the past, Liu Ryan would have softened and indulged him. But now, she ignored his request with an expressionless face. "Follow me," she said coldly, sensing her foul mood. Jibo gritted his teeth and hurried to keep up. Soon they stood before a tombstone. The dark night blurred the photo on it. Jibo, puzzled, asked Ryan, "Why did you bring me here? Who is this person?" Before his words settled, Jibo's legs gave out and he collapsed to his knees. His knees hit the ground with a dull thud. He cried out, finally seeing the photo clearly. It was my mother's picture. Jibo, terrified, tried to back away, but Liu Ryan's bodyguards grabbed him by the neck, forcing him to kneel before the tombstone. "Are you scared when you urged me to stop all aid to him? Did you think of this day?" Liu Ryan's voice was icy, devoid of warmth, utterly chilling. The thought of my mother's death that night, my despairing image, made Liu Ryan's eyes redden. She gritted her teeth at Jibo. "You killed Long Aoshin's mother and cruelly pushed grandfather down the stairs. Those thugs were your doing too. With such a venomous heart, why pretend to be innocent? I said I'd love you forever, that I'd do anything for you, even the dirtiest, bloodiest, ugliest deeds. As long as you gave the word, I'd go through hell for you. But why did you deceive me, using me time and again as your executioner? Do you know how disappointed I was when I learned the truth?" Jibo trembled under her words, tears flooding out instantly. Seeing his near hysterical expression, he cried in terror, "Ryan, listen to my explanation. I just loved you too much, didn't I?" Liu Ryan cut him off coldly, her eyes brimming with disappointment. She'd heard that excuse 100 times, each time forgiving him, cleaning up his messes, shielding him from consequences. But this love was too suffocating. She slammed Jiboda's head to the ground, forcing him to kowtow to my mother, until the air reeked of blood, and Jiboda's screams faded. Only then did Liu Ryan release him. "Repent here tonight." She turned and left, locking the cemetery gate without mercy. Piercing screams tore through the night. Jiboda sobbed in fear. "I have no grudge against you. Why did you kill me? Jiboda, am so lonely down here. Come join me." Countless voices seemed to coil around his ears, deafening and shattering. He knelt before my mother's tombstone, kowtowing desperately, muttering "I'm sorry." Terrified through the entire night, Jiboda's taut nerves snapped the moment the sun rose, and he fainted with a blackout. When he awoke, he found himself on the villa's bed. Liu Ryan tossed him a divorce certificate and a plane ticket. "From now on, you have no ties to the Liu family. Don't appear in my sight again." Still clinging to their 10 years of bond, Liu Ryan spared him her harshest measures, merely banishing him abroad never to meet again. But Jiboda refused to give up Ryan. "I know I was wrong. Don't leave me, please. I love you so much. I can't live without you." He frantically opened his phone gallery, showing their shared moments. "Have you forgotten? We went to the snowy mountain peaks together, watched sunrises and sunsets, lost ourselves in hotel rooms day and night. We had so many beautiful moments. Have you forgotten them all? Can you bear to throw away our 10 years of love?" Jiboda screamed in despair, clinging to Liu Ryan. But Liu Ryan replied calmly, "I haven't forgotten. But it's because those moments were so beautiful that this ending feels so unbearably sloppy." The more she had hoped, the more heartbroken she was now. Liu Ryan leaned down, staring into his eyes, her gaze terrifyingly cold. "Before I change my mind, don't force me to send you to the police myself." Knowing he was powerless, Jiboda closed his eyes, letting tears stream down. Before Liu Ryan left, he asked a question even he didn't know the answer to. "Have you fallen in love with Long Aocean? Compared to the Liu family's chaos, my life was remarkably calm. I arrived in a remote corner of the country, crossing mountains and rivers, finally reaching a little-known laboratory." Professor Lee said sheepishly, "Aocean, this project is a top-secret national priority, so the conditions are a bit rough. Don't mind it." I smiled. How could I? Joining the National Research Institute is an honor countless people dream of. What's more, working in medicine has always been my dream. As a frail, sickly child, and later with my mother's illness, I spent much of my first 25 years in hospital. Watching lives saved by doctors' hands felt like a miracle to me. If one day I could save lives too, how wonderful that would be. So I worked tirelessly, studying relentlessly, and earned a spot at the best medical school, showing extraordinary talent during my university years. Even when I was kept in Liu Ryan's villa, I never stopped learning. You could say I was born to study medicine. Over the next month, I devoured theoretical knowledge and honed practical skills. And in the assessment a month later, I scored near perfection, stunning everyone, officially becoming a member of the National Research Institute. The days of research were tough, but I made many like-minded friends. During a team-building event, a senior colleague picked up a photo that fell from my wallet. Seeing the name on it, he asked curiously, "Aocean, is this Liu Ryan your girlfriend?" I froze for a moment. It had been so long since Liu Ryan's name. Seeing our old photo together made me feel a strange sense of detachment. It took me a moment to realize that she had long faded from my memory. I took the photo, tore it to pieces without hesitation, and tossed it in the trash. Just a passerby, not important. My colleague's interest piqued. He pressed, "Have you ever had a girlfriend? You're good looking and talented. You must have tons of people chasing you." I smiled. They can't keep up with me. For the next 2 months, my latest research breakthroughs became routine, making me an untouchable force among my peers. Professor Lee was immensely proud, boasting to everyone, "This is my star student, standing on the shoulders of giants." My project finally saw a breakthrough. I rushed excitedly to Professor Lee's office, handing him the experimental data. Professor, I said, thrilled. Our research direction is correct. If we keep this up, we'll achieve results soon. Professor Lee was even more excited, hurriedly submitting the data to the National Research Institute's headquarters. Within an hour, my name spread throughout the institute. Headquarters leadership messaged, asking what reward I wanted. Yet I unusually requested a month's leave. Since joining the institute, no one could outshine me in talent. I was heaven's favorite in effort. I outworked everyone. Even when I fainted from low blood sugar, I was thinking about the next experimental steps. Such a workaholic, suddenly asking for a month's leave to relax, shocked everyone. But Professor Lee approved it readily. You should have rested long ago. Look at you. So thin. People might think we don't feed you. Then with a knowing look, he pulled me aside. Aoshin, he said, you're not young anymore. Haven't you thought about your personal happiness? I smiled at Professor Lee. The day I decided to leave the capital, I swore off love in my life. I politely declined. Professor Lee's offer to set me up on a date and embarked on a solo, spiritual trip. Beaches, seas, sunsets, all the beauty I postponed because of Liu Ryan now crashed into me with full force. I even climbed Mount Everest alone, talking to my mother at the place closest to heaven. Sunlight danced on my forehead's loose strands, as if my mother had never left. The day I returned to the city, Professor Lee insisted on picking me up at the airport, but had an urgent matter and cancelled. Aoshin, it's storming outside. Don't rush. I've sent my daughter to pick you up. The moment the call ended, a sweet voice came from behind me. Aoshin, I never expected to reunite with my first love so suddenly. I stared at the woman before me, stunned. Finally finding my voice after a long pause, Li Xie. You're Professor Li's daughter. Li Xie grinned lazily. Yep. Speaking of which, Li Xie was the first person I ever loved. As a shy, sensitive freshman, I struggled alone with heavy luggage at the campus gate, watching other boys get help and guidance. Too timid to ask for assistance, just as I resolved to manage on my own. A beautiful hand tapped my shoulder. I followed her to the dorm in a daze. As she left, she took off my cap, chuckling, so handsome. Why always keep your head down? In that moment, my heart skipped half a beat. We exchanged contact info in a blur. For a while after, I kept running into her everywhere. Her spirited sprint on the track field, the cheerful piano notes in the music room, and chance meetings at staircase corners. Her peach blossom eyes sparkled with laughter, her vibrant voice brimming with youthful charm. Such a campus star. Yet she always lingered around me, calling me Aoshin. Everyone thought we'd end up together, until my mother fell gravely ill, and I chose to part ways with her. Li Xie went abroad, and I thought our story had long ended. But now Li Xie was even bolder than I remembered. She stood on tiptoe, leaning close to my face, her smiling eyes locked on mine. Long Aoshin, can I chase you now? A long-forgotten flutter stirred in my heart, yet I masked it. Li Xie, please behave. The car sped along, stopping at Professor Li's house. She explained casually, my father wanted to invite you for dinner. I didn't refuse. Silently following her inside, it was supposedly Professor Li's invitation, but he wasn't home. Only Li Xie was bustling in the kitchen. Noticing my unease, she spoke up to lighten the mood. Any food allergies? None, I said, straightening up. Li Xie laughed. Relax. I'm not going to eat you. Feeling it awkward to just sit, I offered to help in the kitchen. Li Xie didn't refuse, but didn't let me do much either, just occasionally asking me to pass a bowl or chopsticks. When it was time to eat, I froze for a moment, because Li Xie had made all the dishes I used to love, avoiding any missteps, even down to my favorite post-meal dessert. She had thought of everything. I recalled the old days. She used to take care of me like this. She never asked what I liked or disliked, yet every surprise she prepared was exactly to my taste. A question delayed by 5 years finally spilled out in this moment. How did you know I love these dishes? Li Xie laughed softly. I guessed it back during our club gatherings. I noticed you always went for those few dishes. And you loved sweets. So I figured you'd like them. I lowered my gaze, suddenly struck by how vast the gap between people could be. Some stayed by my side yet knew nothing about me, while others, unseen for years, remembered every detail of my preferences. I was touched and said thank you. Over the course of the meal, Licia cared for me with quiet thoughtfulness, chatting with me while deftly picking out fish bones, even noticing my shifting moods. I gradually relaxed and took the initiative to ask, "What are your plans now that you're back with your skills?" "Joining the National Research Institute wouldn't be hard," Licia said earnestly. "Aocean, I came back for you." The air stilled for a moment. My ears burned with warmth. I changed the subject. "It seems to be raining outside." I didn't expect my offhand remark to come true. The sky unleashed a torrential downpour. The TV flashed a red weather alert. The rain lasted 2 hours, showing no sign of stopping. I had to stay the night. In the cozy apartment, it was just the two of us. While Licia was out, I went to her room to find a hairdryer, and suddenly noticed a photo of us on her desk. It was from the day we won a competition together. A snapshot of our victory. Beside it lay a diary. I couldn't resist opening it. Today, I met a handsome boy with a voice so pleasant, a bit shy. His name is Long Aocean. Such a beautiful name. They say he's the top exam scholar, my junior in the department. Today he came to the club interview and watched my competition. I think I might like him. Tomorrow I want to confess to Aocean. I wonder if he'll like me. Aocean doesn't like me. The diary's entries stopped abruptly the day we parted ways. I could still faintly see tear stains on the pages. My heart clenched with pain. "I'm sorry." "Why say sorry?" Licia walked in from the doorway, smiling as she took the hairdryer from the drawer to dry my hair. The moment her fingertips brushed my scalp, the air grew subtly intimate. But she suddenly said with rare seriousness, "I'm sorry. Aocean, back then I didn't know about your mother's illness. Not only did I not share your burdens, I ran off to study abroad in a huff. I'm sorry for letting you struggle alone so long." Back then she fled abroad because she couldn't accept the harsh words I'd said. And for a long time, she didn't dare inquire about anything related to me. Skipping even class reunions, she buried herself in work, numbing herself year after year, yet couldn't stop thinking of me. A tidal wave of longing nearly overwhelmed her. And 3 months ago it finally erupted. She decided to return to see me, only to find my past 5 years hadn't been easy either. Taking a deep breath, let the past be a prologue. After that night, I threw myself back into research, but now with a partner by my side. During busy times, we often stayed up all night in the lab, from dusk to dawn, working toward a shared goal. In our free time, we'd visit the town to treat patients, or hit up trendy spots for food. If Liu Ryan was a storm after calm seas, then Li Xier was the sunshine and rainbow after the rain. Every second we spent together was so beautiful. I nearly forgot. This woman had come for me from the start, but I couldn't deny the allure of a first love, as potent now as it was then. In our time together, she always cared for me meticulously, respecting me, initiating and planning every date. To ease my work-stressed nerves, she even studied nutrition to craft a wellness plan tailored for me. Over time, we confessed our feelings to each other and officially became a couple. Soon we were the lab's most envied model couple. Half a year passed, and my research project succeeded. Licia and I were transferred back to the capital, attending a press conference. Countless media outlets rushed to cover it, and the world hailed me as a medical genius of our time. With my days suddenly free, I felt unaccustomed, so I set off with Licia on a world tour. The final stop of our journey was to meet her mother. Due to the nature of her parents' work, Licia's parents divorced when she was young and immigrated to Europe. The other devoted to research. Before meeting Licia's mother formally, I was a bit nervous, but as it turned out, her mother was warm and kind, even a bit open-minded. She pressed an heirloom jade pendant into my hand Getting straight to the point. Have you set a wedding date? My face flushed hot instantly. My lips parted, unsure what to say. Her mother raised a brow. You're not planning to skip marriage, are you? She grabbed Lixia's ear in disapproval, scolding Lixia. What are you thinking? Any relationship not aimed at marriage is just playing around. You can't let Aoshin down. Lixia laughed helplessly. Mom, who's your real daughter here? I'm not playing around. I'm dating Aoshin with marriage in mind. Her firm words caught me off guard. When we first started dating, I hadn't thought as far as marriage, only wanting to cherish the present and bravely love who I loved. As for marriage, I thought it was a matter of fate. I assumed Lixia felt the same. But now, hearing her say she wanted to marry me, I couldn't deny feeling moved, not ashamed. Her mother was pleased with her daughter's promise and turned to me. Aoshin, do you want to marry my daughter? Marry her. I wasn't sure I wanted to, but if it was with her, it didn't seem so bad. Just as I was about to answer, Lixia spoke up firmly for me. Mom, stop worrying about me and Aoshin. Give us some time. Maybe next time you see us, it'll be at our wedding. She was always so eloquent, charming her mother with a few words. I breathed a sigh of relief. On the flight back that evening, I couldn't help asking her, don't you want to know what I would have said today? She smiled and countered, do I want to know? Will you tell me? I said, my gaze unwavering. Lixia, I want to spend my life with you. Well, my happiness grew. The Liu family had fallen into chaos. After Liu Ryan expelled Jibota from the villa, she froze all his credit cards and publicly severed all ties with him. Without the Liu family's protection, Jibota hit walls everywhere. Unwilling to be shipped abroad, he lingered at the villa's gate daily, waiting for Liu Ryan. Whenever she stepped out, he clung to her like a venomous snake, casting aside all dignity, kneeling before her, begging, Ryan, don't treat me like this, please. I know I was wrong. Forgive me just this once, I beg you. I know you're angry, but I can change. I can become the gentle, kind Jibota you always wanted anytime you need. Ryan, if you want, I'll even go apologize to Long Aoshin, beg for his forgiveness. But please don't abandon me. The once-proud Jibota, like a white swan, grew increasingly. His once handsome face turned sallow and gaunt, a shadow of his former self. Liu Ryan found it repulsive. She no longer showed patience or warmth, instead ordering security to drive him out of the villa district. In her heart now, there was no white moonlight anymore. She only wanted to find me, to apologize sincerely, and beg me to return to her side. But days turned to weeks, then a year, and despite her influence, she couldn't find a trace of me. She grew increasingly despondent, locking herself in the room I once lived in, numbing herself with alcohol day and night. The belongings I left behind became the objects of her tearful breakdowns in the quiet nights. After another drunken stupor, Liu Ryan lay on my bed, clutching my photo with longing. My figure seemed to appear before her, running toward her with excitement, calling with a beaming smile, Ryan, will you always be this good to me? You have to keep loving me. But the scene shifted. That lively figure turned silent and withdrawn. I, who once cared nothing for money, began measuring everything by wealth, talking only of money. After being with her in bed, I'd quickly pull away and demand payment. When she gave me luxury gifts, I'd sell them at second-hand shops, coldly suggesting, next time just give me cash. Second-hand prices are a steep loss. I no longer cared about her every move. Even when bandaging her wounds after an injury, I'd charge her for medical fees. Liu Ryan, enraged, lashed out, Long Aoshin, when did you become so mercenary? You were with me just for my money, weren't you? Now that Jiboda's back, are you feeling threatened? No more pretending, huh? I'm warning you. If you want me to still care for you, drop those scheming little thoughts. She thought her warning would rein me in, but I showed no shame, not even a hint of embarrassment, no retort, just staring at her expressionlessly, asking, wasn't our relationship always just about money from the start? In that moment, powerlessness and defeat overwhelmed her. Yes, she was the one who signed the contract with me. the one who treated me as a caged bird. But why did it hurt so much? When the bird sought money, not love, she had ruined everything. Liu Ryan seemed to see my repeated disappointments, until my heart turned to ash, packing my bags alone and leaving quietly. In her panic, she smashed 9 bottles in rage, hating her past self. If only Shed noticed my pain sooner, how good that would have been. They wouldn't have ended up so estranged. In her dazed state, Jiboda's mocking words echoed in her ears. Have you fallen in love with Long Aocean? Admit it, you love him. You're head over heels, yet pretend you don't care. Liu Ryan, you're so hypocritical. Love. After countless hopes and crushing disappointments, Liu Ryan finally realized she loved me. She didn't cherish me when she had me, only longing for me after I was gone. How laughable. She always knew how much I'd done for her, yet took it all for granted. I had given up my lifelong dreams for her, willingly trapped in her gilded cage, a caged bird in her world. I'd sacrificed freedom and ambition, naively believing we had a future. I had so desperately wanted to be with her, yet she hurt me time and again for Jiboda. The pain I endured back then, Liu Ryan now felt 1,000 times worse. She turned my room upside down, finally finding a wish jar hidden in a corner, filled with 999 folded stars. Liu Ryan unfolded each star, as if peeling open my heart, seeing all my dreams inside. Going on dates with Liu Ryan, watching movies with Liu Ryan, traveling to the city of romance with Liu Ryan. After collecting all the places I wanted to visit, Liu Ryan set off for Paris the next day, but she scoured the entire city, finding no trace of me. Unwilling to give up, she traveled to many countries, visiting every place I dreamed of, but all her efforts sank without a ripple. Meanwhile, due to her scandals, the Liu Group's valuation plummeted, crashing to a halt. Overnight, countless partners demanded to terminate contracts, and well-hidden corruption and decay surfaced all at once, dealing a fatal blow to the Liu Group's bankruptcy. But Liu Ryan didn't care. To her, money could be earned again. A company could rise from ashes. But losing love was like losing her soul. As she embarked on another quest to find me, old Master Liu dragged her back to the family estate. He threw a newspaper with my photo at her. What are you thinking? Liu Ryan never expected to see me again in a newspaper. In the photo, I stood at the National Research Institute's press conference, no longer the downtrodden figure of the past, but radiant and glowing. Even in a candid shot, my charisma was undeniable. This was the real Long Aocean. Liu Ryan clutched the newspaper, trembling with excitement, ready to rush out to find me. But the bodyguards at the door stopped her. Confused, she cried, "Grandfather, let me go. I need to find Aocean. You always liked him, didn't you? I'll go apologize to him now. Beg for his forgiveness. Ask him to marry me." Old Master Liu looked at his haggard granddaughter, her eyes bloodshot, and sighed deeply. "You blamed me for forcing you to part with Jiboda and making you marry Long Aocean, whom you didn't love. But now everything's back on track. Long Aocean left you on his own. You married Jiboda and held a wedding. Aren't you satisfied? What are you fussing about now? Are you telling me you've fallen for Long Aocean?" Old Master Lia's words dripped with sarcasm, and Liu Ryan had no rebuttal. She was the one who insisted on marrying Jiboda, the one who disdained me, and now the one chasing after me with regret. Some friends, unable to stand by, advised her to let go, to stop clinging to me, but she stubbornly believed I was just throwing a tantrum, that I'd return home once I'd had enough. But thinking it over, a man like me, dignified and ambitious, would never waste time on her. So I left without a sound, yet managed to exact my revenge on Liu Ryan. Old Master Liu, exasperated, asked her, "Tell me, what do you want?" Liu Ryan's mind went blank, dazed and lost. Before, she only wanted to find me, to beg my forgiveness, and reunite with me. But now she felt unworthy of me. The thought struck her, and she quickly denied it. "Grandfather, I'm going to find Long Aocean. I want to marry him." As she turned to leave, a sharp pain struck the back of her head, and she collapsed unconscious. When she awoke, She was locked in a room at the estate, the doors and windows sealed shut. The nanny who raised her pitied her, sneaking in to plead, "Miss, stop obsessing over Mr. Long. It'll only bring you more pain." "No," Liu Ryan retorted without emotion. "My life is truly painful." Unwilling to change her mind, old Master Liu kept her confined. The first day, Liu Ryan shouted and raged, but no one paid her heed. The second day, she smashed everything in the room and tried to break the window, only to fracture her leg. The third day, she resorted to a hunger strike, but still couldn't sway old Master Liu. A week passed, and Liu Ryan began refusing food entirely, until severe dehydration nearly claimed her life, barely saved. Her thoughts still lingered on me. As his cherished granddaughter, old Master Liu, despite his anger, couldn't help but soften, and the moment the guards were withdrawn, Liu Ryan took a taxi overnight to the National Research Institute's head, but was stopped by security at the gate. She shouted furiously at the guard, "Do you know who I am? I'm Long Aoshin's fiancé. Let me in to see him." Liu Ryan rushed forward recklessly, but was pushed back by security time and again, drawing the attention of passers-by who mocked. Where did this clown come from, daring to impersonate Academician Long's fiancé? Shameless! A toad lusting after a swan, not even checking her own reflection. Academician Long is our country's youngest academician. His technology has saved countless lives. How could a beggar like you taint him? Their sharp words struck Liu Ryan's heart like a boomerang, slicing deep. I realized then, the humiliation I endured was so vicious. Liu Ryan's hands clenched slowly, her nails digging into her palms, pain spreading through her body. Yet she stood frozen, like a statue, unaware of her own suffering. Lightning lit up half the sky, relentless thunder roared deafeningly, and torrential rain poured down, enveloping her. Still she didn't move. After an unknown time, an umbrella appeared over her head, and a gentle voice spoke from behind Ryan. "Let's go back, okay?" She turned slowly, seeing Jiboda holding the umbrella for her. Looking at Liu Ryan's lifeless eyes, Jiboda felt a bitter pang in his heart, as if something heavy clogged it. If it weren't for me, she could have lived happily with Liu Ryan, in joy and bliss. He was no longer her little nephew, but could have been the husband standing proudly by her side. Yet now Liu Ryan seemed so foreign it made his heart tremble. Her gaze toward him was like a stagnant, lifeless pool, tinged with disgust. Why even after I've left? Is she still obsessed with me? Can't she see me instead? Jiboda pleaded with her once more, but Liu Ryan gave no satisfying answer. Jiboda, we're done. There's no chance of reconciliation. Don't come looking for me again. But Jiboda refused to listen. In a fit of humiliated rage, he smashed the umbrella on her. "Liu Ryan, I gave you 11 years. The most precious years of my life. I even gave you my body. Must you be so heartless?" Already weakened, Liu Ryan stumbled under the blow, the world spinning before her eyes, and in a blink she fainted. When she awoke, Liu Ryan found herself in an unfamiliar room, with Jiboda lying beside her, his shoulders bare. Fury at being manipulated overwhelmed her, and she kicked Jiboda out of bed. Before he could even cry out, I grabbed his throat tightly, his face turning purple. My voice was ice cold, as if coming from a distant place. "Who allowed you to climb into my bed? Do you want to die?" The next moment, I flung Jiboda into the corner. He crashed hard onto the floor, too pained to speak. Liu Ryan grabbed her phone and made a brief call. Soon a group of bodyguards burst into the room, bringing emergency contraceptives. She swallowed them without hesitation, cut off his reproductive organs. So he won't scheme again. Jiboda's eyes widened in disbelief, his body trembling violently with fear. But Liu Ryan gave him no chance to speak, ordering the bodyguards to take him to the hospital immediately. She knew Jiboda's tricks too well. If she bore his child, had have a reason to stay. And even if she refused, old Master Liu would force her to marry him for the Liu family's honor. I'd never accept a married woman. The thought brought a glint of murderous intent to her eyes. But what Liu Ryan didn't know was that her outburst at the Institute had gone viral online. It started with a passerby's video, uploaded to the internet, where netizens quickly identified the beggar as Liu Ryan, who abandoned me last year and held a grand wedding with Djibouti. The incident sparked a firestorm online. She's utterly rotten. Her only redeeming quality was dating Academician Long. Beyond that, she's trash. Academician Long must destroy the galaxy in his past life to meet such a scumbag in this one. I scrolled through the comments expressionlessly, a mocking smile curling my lips. Only after success do people surround you with kindness. What's got you so engrossed? Licia wrapped her arms around me from behind, planting a gentle kiss on my forehead. When she saw what was on my phone, her heart clenched with worrying. She flipped my phone face down on the table. Why are you looking at her? Seeing her nervous expression, I narrowed my eyes, a hint of scrutiny in my gaze. Did you already know about this? Why else would you be so uneasy? Licia admitted frankly. Last night, when I went to headquarters to grab something, I saw the whole scene. She said this with a touch of irritation. Heaven knows, the moment she saw Liu Ryan last night, she wanted to rush up and fight her, desperate to reclaim all the pain I'd suffered. But then she thought, there was once love between Liu Ryan and me. Fearing I'd be upset, Licia held back, only calling security to teach Liu Ryan a lesson. At that thought, Licia grew anxious. Are you feeling sorry for her? I laughed in exasperation. Why would I feel sorry for her? She brought this on herself. The day my mother died, any lingering feelings I had for Liu Ryan burned to ashes, let alone pity. To ease her worries, I wrapped my arms around her neck, coaxing softly, don't worry. When I long Aocean, say I don't love, I mean it. And when I say I love you, it's true. Since when did my senior sister become so insecure? My sudden bold flirting caught Licia off guard. She couldn't resist pulling me close for a kiss, lingering for a long moment before stopping. 2 hours later, I took Licia to my mother's grave. Mother, I've come to see you. I spoke at length before my mother's tombstone. Licia staying quietly by my side. Before leaving, I tightly gripped Licia's hand, tears in my eyes as I said, Mother, she's the one I want to spend my life with. I want to marry her. If you're watching from above, please bless her. Let her live a life of peace and joy, and bless us to grow old together. Licia was momentarily stunned, then knelt before my mother's tombstone, vowing solemnly, Mother, rest assured, entrust Aocean to me. You'll never let her down. I smiled warmly. Just as we stepped out of the cemetery gate, I heard a familiar voice nearby. Aocean, my smile froze instantly. My gaze locked on Liu Ryan approaching me. Liu Ryan hadn't expected to see me here. She'd only come to pay respects to my mother, yet stumbled upon my figure. As she moved to approach me, she suddenly noticed the unfamiliar woman behind me, our hands intimately entwined. But what shocked her most was that I declared, in front of my mother, my intent to marry this woman. Liu Ryan couldn't believe it. Aocean, who is she? My eyes looking at her held no trace of love. I raised my hand entwined with Licia's and said openly, as you can see, she's my fiancée. Licia instinctively stepped in front of me, staring coldly at Liu Ryan. Liu Ryan broke down, shouting, how is that possible? The one you love is clearly me. How could you suddenly love her? I had no desire to argue with her, so I pulled Licia toward the car. Aocean, Liu Ryan rushed forward, blocking my path, kneeling before me, pleading desperately. Aocean, I always thought I loved Djibouti, but now I realize you're the one I truly love. Give me another chance, please. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. She reached for my wrist, but Licia slapped her to the ground. Even the most patient person has limits. Licia grabbed Liu Ryan's collar, slapping her twice, her eyes blazing with barely contained fury, as if she wouldn't stop until death, like the blows Liu Ryan once dealt to my back. Piercingly painful. This slap is for Aocean. This one's for Aocean's mother. And this one's for me. Slap after slap. Liu Ryan was too weak to fight back. Her body ravaged by sleepless nights, drinking and smoking, was nothing but a walking corpse, ready to collapse with the slightest breeze. Yet Liu Ryan felt no pain, only staring at me with desperate hope, wishing to see the love and pity of old in my eyes. But her hopes were dashed. I didn't spare her a single glance, standing quietly aside, neither stopping nor stepping forward. As medical researchers Li Xia and I knew well, this force would only cause minor bruises. Liu Ryan's long accumulated hopes shattered in that moment. After what felt like an eternity, Li Xia stopped, her calm face finally showing emotion. She wiped the blood from her hands with distress, then warned Liu Ryan from above, "If you want to call the police, go ahead, but I'll sue you for harassment in return." An eye for an eye, I learned that from her. Ironically, it was used against her. Liu Ryan's appearance didn't disrupt my life, but Li Xia grew anxious, constantly probing me in different ways. Was your talk of marriage sincere, or just to spite Liu Ryan? I was exasperated yet amused, recalling how I too once felt such unease. I couldn't help but ache for Li Xia, knowing only those who feel unloved harbor such fears. So I moved up the wedding plans, choosing an auspicious date a month away. The day after setting the date, I suggested going to the registry office, but Li Xia refused, saying it wasn't the right time yet. For the next 2 days, Li Xia left early and returned late, revealing nothing. Her secrecy puzzled me. She was so thrilled when we set the date. Why hesitate now at the registry? The answer came. On the third night of her mysterious absences, I was invited to an elegant restaurant. The entire place, decorated as grandly as a wedding venue. Then a cheerful birthday song rang out. I realized it was my birthday. Li Xia pushed a cake cart toward me, followed by a crowd. Professor Li, his wife, close colleagues, and friends I'd stayed in touch with over the years. Make a wish, Aoshin. My wish was simple: to have my loved ones and friends by my side, to live the rest of my life free and happy. I blew out the candles with a breath, a poetic warmth filling my eyes. Thank you. After the birthday party, Li Xia took me to a quaint villa in the north of the city, handing me its keys, her beautiful peach blossom eyes gazing into mine. Aoshin, will you be the master of this house, be my husband, and share a lifetime of joy with me? Tears welled in my eyes, my voice choked with emotion. Of course I will. The moonlight outside was bright. The villa's lights flickered on and off. After that night, my relationship with Li Xia deepened rapidly. We took a 2-month leave, planning the wedding together, handwriting invitations, ensuring the ceremony would be flawless. Everything proceeded smoothly. But on the eve of the wedding, I received a message from Old Master Liu. Aoshin, though this request is bold, I hope you'll visit Ryan in the hospital. Old Master Liu had been kind to me, so I went to the hospital. Liu Ryan, lying in the hospital bed, looked frail and haggard, nothing like the Liu Ryan in my memory. Old Master Lia's face was etched with weariness. She's been diagnosed with kidney failure. The doctors say she won't survive the month. I lowered my gaze, silent. On my way here, I'd already heard Li Xia's investigation results. In the days after I left, Liu Ryan's temperament changed drastically, relentlessly ruining her health, even drinking until her stomach bled. And the first thing she did after being saved from death was drink again. If her body doesn't break, whose would? Liu Ryan stared blankly out the window, her lips a tight line, silent for a long time. When diagnosed with kidney failure, the first person she thought of was me. She had so much to say, so many things she wanted to do with me. But after another massive hemorrhage landed her in the hospital, she gave up completely. What right does a dying person have to hold others back? You must be thrilled to see me like this. Liu Ryan mocked. Long Aoshin, you've always wanted to be rid of me. Now that I'm dying, you must feel triumphant. I shook my head, my voice calm and emotionless. Liu Ryan's clouded eyes suddenly brightened. You mean it? Then do you still? I cut her off bluntly. Whether you're here or not, my life goes on unchanged. In other words, Liu Ryan, you mean nothing to me. So whether you live or die, I remain the radiant Long Aoshin. A faint tremor crossed Liu Ryan's thin lips. She tried to say more, but I said impatiently, if you called me here just to hear you say these pointless things, am not staying. Also, my wedding with my wife is next Monday. If you're able, you're invited to attend. I placed a wedding invitation on the table and turned to leave because I no longer cared. I didn't notice that after I left, Liu Ryan tore the invitation to shreds in a frenzy, crying like a child in agony. But after her tears, she pieced the fragments back together resignedly. If I can see Aoshin in his wedding attire before I go, this life won't have been in vain, even if his bride isn't me. 2 days before my wedding, Liu Ryan's spirits were unusually high, a fleeting moment of clarity before the end. She sold all her assets, transferring the proceeds to my account, but the next day, the massive sum was returned untouched. With a note, Miss Liu, please respect yourself. Liu Ryan stared at the message for a long time, crying until she laughed. Aoshin, come back, please. Only silence answered her. The wedding venue was romantic and lavish. Flowers, lights, music, everything was perfect. Yet Liu Ryan found it all bitterly ironic, mocking her incompetence and arrogance. Licia, in a pristine white wedding gown, her long hair elegantly pinned up, looked like a goddess stepped from a painting. She walked slowly, steadily, each step resolute, moving toward me. Amid the crowd's jubilant cheers, the pastor asked solemnly, Miss Licia, do you take Mr. Long Aoshin as your husband? In poverty or wealth, in health or sickness, to love, respect, and protect him until the end of your life? Licia's eyes reddened. She vowed devoutly, I do. The pastor turned to me, Mr. Long Aoshin, do you take Miss Licia as your wife? In poverty or wealth, in health or sickness, to love, respect, and protect her until the end of your life? Liu Ryan held her breath, her red eyes fixed on me. I said gently yet firmly, I do. Liu Ryan's mental world collapsed entirely. After the wedding, Liu Ryan, limping, wanted to see me one last time, but suddenly saw a car speeding toward me across the road. The driver, none other than Jiboter. Without thinking, Liu Ryan used her body to block the car and was thrown 10 meters away, her bouquet scattering across the ground, her body landing in a pool of blood. Watching me walk further away, Aoshin, her eyes closed in that moment. Liu Ryan slipped into eternal sleep. Sirens wailed as they arrived. Jiboda was apprehended and brought to justice. 2 years later, Licia and I welcomed a daughter. That day's sunlight was warm. Even the breeze was exceptionally gentle, like a grand blessing.